what you hope that the folks here today can leave with. What would you like for them to, if there's one or two things, what would that be?
Yeah. Well, I think, the things that I hope that people leave these next 2 days with is a sense of their own power, and a sense that, Alice Walker would always say the greatest way that we give away our power is by thinking that we don't have any. And I think that what we really want to do these next few days is for people to have a sense of community and deep love for each other, and then have a clear sense of, like, how do we win? How do we begin to really, really, from this sort of shared vision and deep relationship, how do we build a plan to really build power so that we can begin to really co-govern this state, and then so we can truly have an Idaho that's for all of us, and then we can begin to build an America that's for all of us. And so that starts with today about building relationships, but then really planning a strategy to win. And that begins in November, but we want to build enough infrastructure and power. We want to build a movement that outlasts elections, and that can really begin to lay the framework for a virtuous cycle of public life here in Idaho.
First thought when you were when you learned that you'd be coming here, and its history with a pretty red state. What do you think when you're like, what's that initial feeling? It's like, oh, you're going to Idaho to whip these.
Well, it's so funny. It's like, well, where should we be organizing? Van Jones has a great line, like, well, where should we be organizing? And we should be organizing where people are suffering and where progressives aren't. And so this is exactly when I first met Adrian and learned about United Action for Idaho and United Vision for Idaho. I was like, that's exactly where we need to be, because this is, I know, it may be a red state, but I know that there's people that are tremendously suffering massive income disparities, massive racial disparities, and this is the place. Like, as a progressive movement, these are the places that we've forgotten, because they're not strategic enough, or they don't show up on our maps or lists. But these are people who are struggling, who are fighting, and these are the places we need to be contending in every county and every state in the union, because it's not about where folks show up on these political lists. It's about, like, where do people need to organize, and how do we help give them the tools and investment so that they can begin to have enough power to determine their own future. So no, I was excited, man. I mean, and just the idea when I heard there were 75 people who have taken off of work to come for 2 days in the middle of the week to really dedicate themselves to this, I booked my flight within 60 minutes. So I was excited. I've been on the road for like 2 weeks straight, and I was like, there's no way I'm gonna miss this. So
good deal.
I could have actually. I was supposed to be in Selma. We were launching a Free to Vote campaign in Alabama. And I was like, I'm going to be in Idaho. That's where I need to be. So, I mean, this is what we're seeing is like, we're really trying to build up what we think of like a 50-state strategy. And we believe if we really talk about our values and we talk about the issues that people matter, and we're building a kind of bold agenda, we can win. We can build power in any corner of this country. And I have seen it everywhere in the most conservative, whatever red parts of the state, of the country. I've been traveling all over the country, and we see that people are hungry to organize, and that and if we invest in people, that we can win.
Right. Awesome. That's good. I'm going to do it.